I used to work the night shift as a train operator for the city's subway. The graveyard shift was always eerie. Empty stations, flickering lights, and the occasional late-night wanderer stumbling aboard. But nothing compared to what happened on November 12th, 2022. That night, I was on the 3:15 a.m. route. As I pulled into the last underground station before the train looped back, I counted the passengers through the rearview mirror. There were exactly 24 of them. I always counted. It was a habit I developed for safety reasons. The doors closed, and I continued the route. A few minutes later, I glanced at the mirror again. There were now 25 passengers. I frowned, thinking I had miscounted. Maybe someone had been obscured by a seat, but the number gnawed at me. I decided to do another count at the next stop. As the train pulled in and I watched people exit, I counted again. There should have been fewer now. Still 25. A chill ran down my spine. My stomach twisted. I turned in my seat and scanned the car through the small operator's window. The passengers sat in silence, some staring at their phones, some dozing off. But something felt wrong. At the next station, a few more people exited. I counted again. Still 25. My throat went dry. I checked the security cameras, rewinding to see if someone had somehow reboarded. Nothing. My hands gripped the controls tighter as I continued through the tunnel. The air felt heavy, suffocating. I had to see for myself. At the next station, I made an excuse over the intercom. Routine check. Everyone remained seated. I stepped out of the operator's booth and walked through the train, my eyes darting from face to face. There were only 24 people. My heart pounded. I swore I had seen 25 in the mirror. I shook it off, chalking it up to exhaustion, and returned to my seat. But as the train plunged into the darkness of the tunnel, I glanced at the mirror one last time. There it was, the 25th passenger. It sat in the very last row, face obscured in the dim light. My breath hitched. My hands trembled over the controls. My instincts screamed at me to stop the train, to get out, to run, but I couldn't. I had a job to do. The next stop was the final one before the turnaround. I kept my eyes on the mirror. The figure never moved. As the train came to a stop, I held my breath, waiting for people to exit. One by one, they stepped off. And as the last of them disappeared into the night, I counted again. I shut the doors and bolted to the back of the train, my heart hammering in my chest. The seat was empty, but there was something left behind, a single, damp handprint on the window, smeared as if someone had been staring out, waiting for something or someone. I never worked the night shift again, but the story didn't end there. A few weeks later, I ran into an old colleague at a coffee shop. He still worked nights. We chatted for a while before he hesitated and leaned in.
"Have you ever noticed something strange on your shift?"
He asked. My stomach dropped. "What do you mean?" He stirred his coffee, glancing around as if making sure no one was listening.
"A passenger. One that doesn't belong."
I felt the blood drain from my face. "You've seen them too?" He nodded slowly.
"Not just me. A few of us. Same thing every time. The count is off, then it isn't. Like they were never there. But someone always finds a mark. A handprint, a shadow in the reflection. Something."
I swallowed hard. "Who is it?" He exhaled sharply, looking me dead in the eyes.
"No one knows. But rumor has it. It started after a passenger disappeared on a train late one night, years ago. The conductor swore he never saw anyone get off, but they found a single damp handprint on the glass.
I shivered. That night, I dreamed of the 25th passenger. In the dream, they were sitting in the last row, staring directly at me. But this time, I could see their face, and they were smiling. The next morning, I woke up to a notification on my phone. It was a security alert from my old train station. A motion sensor had been triggered in an empty subway car. I tapped the video feed open. The footage showed a train sitting in the dark, abandoned on the tracks. Then, for just a moment, the lights flickered, and in the reflection of the train's window, I saw it, the 25th passenger, smiling at me